What if I told you that your life isn't happening to you and it's actually happening from you? Not in like a mystical way, just think positive, but in a neurological, psychological, and identity level way. Because here's the uncomfortable truth: the patterns in your relationships, the money you make or don't make, the opportunities that seem to pass you by, or the way that people speak to you, respect you, choose you, overlook you, they are not random. They are reflections. Not reflections of your worth, but reflections of your internal wiring. Your subconscious identity, that version of you, was shaped by your childhood experiences, past pains, past wins, even. It is quietly running the show. And most of the time, you don't even realize that it's there. You'll think, why does this keep happening to me? Why do I keep dating the same person? Why is this story showing up again? How do I hit the ceiling every single time? But the better question that you should be asking yourself is, what part of me believes that this is normal? And where did this come from? Because your nervous system is not trying to make you successful. It doesn't care about your success or achieving your goals. It's only trying to keep you safe. And what feels safe feels familiar. It's not about you manifesting something wrong, or you didn't do enough, or blaming yourself, or you didn't journal hard enough. It's that your subconscious identity will always override your conscious desires. You don't get what you want. You get what you believe that you are. And that's why this conversation matters. Today, we're going to be diving into one of the most confronting and empowering truths of personal growth. Your internal world creates your external reality, not because the universe is testing you, but because your identity shapes the risks that you want to take, the standards you hold for yourself, the boundaries you set, the energy you walk into rooms with, the opportunities that show up at your front door. And once you can see this, you can't unsee it, because suddenly your life stops being a mystery and it becomes feedback. It becomes a mirror. Everywhere you look, you'll realize that you are looking at your own beliefs. Even if on a conscious level you think that you aren't, you are. Because deep down, that is what feels safe for you. By the end of this episode, you'll understand why you keep attracting the same situations, even when you swear you've done the work. Why mindset alone isn't enough, and why affirmations alone can't override a dysregulated nervous system, and how to shift your internal state at the identity and nervous system level, so your outer world has no choice than to reorganize around you. This isn't about becoming someone new. It's about becoming conscious of who you've been operating as this whole time. Welcome to The Authentic Way. I'm Jess, and this space is dedicated to helping you step into your most authentic self, deeply knowing who you are, trusting yourself fully, and expressing your truth with confidence while living in alignment with it every day. I created this for anyone moving through a big life transition and feeling a little lost. Maybe you're outgrowing old versions of yourself or realizing what once fit doesn't anymore. I know that space well. Everything I share here is rooted in lived experience, the lessons I've walked through, the shifts I've had to make, and the process of finding my way back to myself. My hope is that what I've learned helps guide you back to your own clarity, confidence, and self-trust. Now let's begin the episode. So today we're going to be talking about how your internal world creates your external reality, and focusing on letting go of that victim mindset that is so easy to carry when something is not going well for us. It's so easy to look around us and say, this has happened to me so many times, and why does this keep showing up? Why does this never work out for me? Why do I keep dating the same person in the end? Or why do experiences and opportunities just keep passing by me all the time? So, we're going to be talking about how your perception shapes your experience. We don't see reality as it is, we see it as we are. And your beliefs filter what you notice, pursue, tolerate, or expect, even. And this is happening all the time because your identity drives your behavior. You don't get what you want, you get what you believe you are. So if you say, I am bad with money, you will be bad with money. Relationships never work out for me, the relationship's always going to fail. I'm not confident, you're never going to show up for yourself in the way that you want to. When you label yourself as something, you become it. Your identity quietly directs all of your choices. Your emotional state also sets the tone. Your dominant emotional baseline determines what you allow, what you notice all the time, and what starts to feel normal. And this comes from your reticular activating system, your RAS. And this is a filter in your brain that deletes or distorts or focuses or highlights on information that we have chosen to focus on. There are millions of stimuli around you right now, but you only notice what your brain thinks is important. What determines importance is your identity and what you choose to focus on. Have you ever heard the term where your energy goes, energy flows? That is what this is talking about. When you decide to focus on something, that's what you start receiving. And you start to realize that everything is one big feedback loop. So when you buy a red car or you want to buy a red car, you suddenly see red cars everywhere of that exact model that you've been looking at, but you never noticed them before. You think that people don't respect you, your brain is going to highlight every single micro moment of people not respecting you. It will fixate on it all the time, everywhere you go. Or decide, I am becoming confident. Your brain starts to notice the evidence of growth and seeing yourself show up in different ways. Even though you might not be really doing anything different, your brain starts to see the little flags of that's personal growth right there. Look at that. So the whole point of your Ross is it's not searching for truth, it's searching for the confirmation of what it already knows in every single situation. So if you identify with struggle, your brain is going to filter for struggle 24/7. If you identify with power, your brain will begin to filter for opportunity and power 24/7. Our bodies have a built-in regulation system, and it's always trying to return back to homeostasis. This is the process that keeps things stable and survivable, like temperature, blood sugar, your heart rate, your emotional state. Your body doesn't care about your goals, it cares about stability and stability only. And your nervous system prefers familiarity over better and predictable over expansive. Every single time, your body will always come back to that on a subconscious level. You don't even know what's happening. So, if chaos is familiar, peace brings a boring feeling. It doesn't feel good. If struggle is familiar, ease feels suspicious or uncomfortable. So when you're trying to grow, your system may resist, not because it's wrong, because it's unfamiliar. And you might start self sabotaging in different situations. You might start shrinking after certain wins or recreating old dynamics that you actually really don't like, but they feel familiar. And your body at all times is trying to return back to its set point. And that set point is workable, and we are able to shift the safety in our body over time. So you aren't stuck in that, but you need to start rewiring your body. So now that you understand how your RAS filters reality based on your identity and how homeostasis just wants to keep you anchored and safe for familiarity, we can start looking at why abundance isn't just about what's available. It's about what you're calibrated to notice and receive at all times. So let's tie this into abundance and the reason why you may not be experiencing more of it. And it's not necessarily external, it's that your brain and nervous system are still wired to look for and return to that limitation or scarcity mindset through opportunities, connections, support, creativity, love. Abundance is constantly moving around you. It is constantly available and you can always touch it. But it's about choosing that is what you're going to focus on, that it is available to you. It is everywhere. Conversations are available to you. The idea of abundance available to you. People who want to help you, paths you haven't considered yet are all around you. But here's the question that I wanted to ask you. If abundance is all around us, why do so many people feel stuck in lack or scarcity? That's where your RAS system comes in. It filters your reality based on what you believe is true. If your identity is, I'm behind, I'm not good enough, nothing ever works for me, there's never enough, other people get opportunities before I do, your brain will start scanning the environment and highlight that evidence that confirms that story for you constantly. You'll be noticing everywhere that door closed, that person didn't respond to me, that person doesn't want to be with me, a job didn't work out, the opportunity missed me again. You won't register the idea that you had this morning that is abundance, that small win that you got, the person who smiled at you, the person who held the door for you, the subtle opening or opportunity, and the resources that you already have and are abundant. And you're not noticing it because they aren't there, but because your brain doesn't think that it's relevant, so it chooses to not focus on it. Your RAS does not look for abundance. It looks for confirmation of what it already knows. Your nervous system is wired to maintain familiarity, and you grew up in scarcity, emotional unpredictability, competition, lack. Then lack might feel normal to you and it feels safe. And abundance, like real abundance, would feel destabilizing because maybe you think it's going to get taken away from you, or it's not going to last, or it's not actually real. Because to receive abundance, it is about receiving, being seen, trusting, expanding, letting things be easy and flow. And if ease is unfamiliar, your system will resistant. So when support is available to you, and even when ideas flow or when the connection is offered, you might naturally not realize it, but you downplay it or you don't trust it, you ignore it, you overcomplicate it or talk yourself out of it, but not consciously because you've identified so hard with this lack that you've made it your identity. And your body just keeps trying to return to what feels known. Homeostasis does not protect your highest life. It doesn't want you to be uncomfortable or move into a new identity or try something new. It wants to protect the familiar life that you have, whether you like it or not. So let's say two people walk into the same room. One sees opportunity, connection, possibility. The other sees judgment or competition. They don't feel safe, a threat. Same room, different internal world, different filtered reality. The abundance in the room did not change. Their identity did. It was the only thing that made their experiences different because they are living in that state. They cannot focus on where the abundance lies. So when your identity shifts and your nervous system feels safe in expansion with new identity, your RAS starts highlighting possibility instead of limitation. And you can start noticing ideas or synchronicities showing up, invitations or opportunities, support. And suddenly it feels like abundance has arrived at your doorstep, right at your feet. But it's always been there. Your body just was not calibrated to see it. So when we're able to change our identity and embody this new state of what we want to be living in, so let's say it is abundance, and we'll just talk about embodiment really quick. Embodiment is practicing the emotional and behavioral state of your future self before the evidence shows up. You are already acting as if. You identify with this future version of yourself in a present tense. So if your nervous system wants familiarity, you must make your future self identity feel safe and familiar. And you can do this by asking, how does my aligned self think? How do they speak? How do they handle conflict? How do they walk into a room and how do they carry themselves? What is the energy that they hold? And this isn't pretending or forcing or trying to be something that you're not, but gently rehearsing safety and expansion, kind of like acting. When you really get into that role, you have to embody that character that you are trying to be. You have to get into their emotional state. You have to kind of jump into their body. What is it like to be them? And when you can do this in a safe way that feels easeful, maybe starting out really small, your RAS filters differently and your choices shift, turning your tolerance a lot higher for change. And your reality starts reorganizing around you. When you are able to start small with this, you can start taking small actions of, okay, well, if the successful version of me in this business I want to build, let's just say 2 years from now, that's the person that I want to be. How do they wake up in the morning? Do they work out? What do they eat? What have they let go of eating? What is no longer a high vibrational food? Do they wake up early? Do they sleep in? What time do they go to bed at night? And start actually embodying this version of yourself so that when the time comes, you are already them and the energy has lined up perfectly. For me, this embodiment area of my life, I really sat down and wrote a letter from future me to present me. And I decided to write all of the things about myself from the future and the things that really helped connect me to myself and my journey. So some of those decisions looked like getting up early and having my coffee in a slow manner and really taking my time in the morning and having a bit of a ritual every single morning that helped me connect myself to me. And this was through journaling, through reading, slowness, sometimes meditation, sometimes just put on healing frequencies or anything that would help my body relax and get into a state that felt powerful or good. And when I was really able to step into this, it actually became my whole reality. And now every single morning I wake up and I have quite a few hours to myself in the morning to really step into that version of myself and get ready for the day. And it's so funny because my partner knows that that time is for me. And he'll make me a coffee and get me set up in the morning and then leaves me for hours to do my thing and to just kind of be with myself. And it looks different every single morning. But I know that future me, that is a priority. I can't stand busy mornings at all. I can't stand a rushed feeling like you have to eat when you don't want to, trying to get out the door. And then I feel like you just start your day off in this like really chaotic state. And it feels like you can never really calibrate back to normal. And then you just kind of go throughout your whole day like that. And I used to do that for years. I used to sleep into the very last minute and barely eat and be chugging my coffee. And then I would just be stressed when I got to work. And the energy around that never went away. It was just this chaotic, stressful day that I would have after that. And I hated it. I was like, this is not what future me does. Future me loves to have her mornings. She loves to wake up early. She loves to connect with herself. She looks forward to waking up in the morning and starting her day. And I embodied that so hard that it became my whole identity. And now I love it. I am the freak who says, I love to wake up at 6, even if I have nowhere to be. Before, you couldn't even get me out of bed, like 20 minutes before I had to be out the door. But now I get to be in this like embodied state of this girl who has time. She's calm. She feels nourished and connected to herself. She's ready to start the day because she's had time with herself first, and now she's ready to serve others. And it really became this balanced lifestyle of identity, of like, how can I be this version of myself while integrating it, while trying to, show up day to day? And I had to start small. I did not automatically wake up one day and decide that I wanted to have like a 3-hour morning routine. It really just started building. It started with, I want to get up 1 hour before I have to leave so I can sip my coffee for 30 minutes and just be calm before I have to get up and get dressed and eat something. And it started to build, and I started to identify so hard with it that I ended up falling in love with this version of myself and the person that does this and how she takes care of herself first thing in the morning before she goes out and talks to anyone. And I was able to do that through asking myself, what is the aligned version of myself do in the mornings? How does she think? How does she handle herself? How does she want to show up? And that's only one area of my life. So when you're able to really hone in on the different areas of your life that you're not feeling aren't aligned with you right now, and ask yourself how you would rather be in that situation, and not necessarily looking at your external reality to make those changes, but looking within into your internal state and deciding, am I going to start seeing love and abundance all around me? Yes, I'm going to identify with that, and I'm going to look for proof everywhere I go. Something kind of woo that I do, and I've been practicing a lot with receiving, because before I had a really hard time with receiving and didn't really always feel comfortable with it. So I decided to start identifying with the version of me who feels safe with receiving. And that started with deciding to notice all the ways in my life, day to day, that people were giving me something to receive. Even if someone walked in front of me and held the door open for me, I would say to myself, look, someone is doing something for you. You can receive this action from this person. Even when I would drive up to a light and it would be red as I'm approaching and then instantly turn green, I would say the universe is giving to you. You can receive this green light. Even at crosswalks, everywhere I would go and something would happen or line up perfectly, and I would start to feel this like abundance of receiving and feeling like life was happening for me in the like smallest ways. Even someone making me breakfast or a coffee, I would think to myself, the universe always delivers. You are always taken care of. You can receive anything. And abundance is what I've been focusing on. And that is in so many different ways and forms that I can receive abundance. That feels really good. And I started seeing proof everywhere that I was so abundant. Even like receiving a gift card in the mail from my mom for the grocery store because she uses her points. She has so many PC points that she just buys me gift cards and sends it to me in the mail, would just show up. And I would be like so grateful and just really take a moment to be like, look, this is proof of how abundant you are. And abundance doesn't just show up in money, it shows up in so many different ways. So when you can start focusing on the different areas that you want to change in your life and start identifying with this new version of yourself, it really starts to prove over and over again in different ways how when you identify with it, it starts to show up constantly. So let's kind of jump into a bit of an identity audit and asking yourself, who am I being in this area of my life? And what belief drives that identity about myself? And really analyzing what is not working for you and what you're really tired of and how you no longer want to be. And then we're going to choose the next level identity. We're going to say, let's just say, I want confidence. Ask yourself, who would I be if I was confident and trusted myself? And I want you to really write down all the attributes of the person that you would be if you were confident. What would that look like? How would it be? How would you trust yourself? And if discomfort's coming up, which is normal, just take a moment to pause and take a breath and let your body settle. Show your nervous system that it is safe to expand. Just take a moment here and say it's okay to feel like that might be a little bit alarming, but you are safe if you want to choose a different identity. And I just want to mention that choosing a new identity is not going to happen overnight. It happens through consistency over and over and over again. You are rewiring this new pattern and identity shift in your internal state. So it's going to take a little bit of time, but the more you can reinforce that, the safer it will feel. So it's okay if it doesn't feel totally safe right now. We're going to do a little bit of a micro embodiment and ask yourself, what is one small action that feels really safe that I can do today that my future self would take? Maybe it's waking up 30 minutes earlier and enjoying it. Maybe it's eating more vegetables. Maybe it's going for a walk because future you loves to go out for walks in the mornings. Your expansion with identity is going to be built in tolerable doses. So don't decide you're going to completely change your identity and wake up the next day and be a completely different person and do a completely different new routine, because your body is going to freak out. It will not like it and you will not survive it. That is not sustainable at all. You need to work in micro steps, little bits at a time, deciding to take new actions. Maybe you do one action for a week, then add a new action or expand that action and start moving at a different pace constantly and growing and evolving and working through this flow of growth with your identity. choosing to look at your life and saying, I'm feeling not very abundant right now. How can I choose again? And a choose again is when you have a thought that doesn't feel good because it's trying to keep you safe, you get to choose again. In that moment, when you identify the thought that is coming up and you decide you no longer want to identify with that thought, you can choose again. You can take a moment to say, actually, I am very abundant. Maybe I'm not seeing the money in my bank account at this moment, but seeing all the ways that you are rich. Looking at everything that you own, looking at the money around you, even though it's not a physical number, looking at your phone, your home, the food in your fridge, the transportation you get to take, the job that you have because it makes you money. You get to choose that thought again and look around you. And you're training your system to start seeing the abundance all around you instead of focusing on what you don't have. And when you're able to identify with this, your whole life changes. Your external world starts to shift and you start seeing things that you did not see before. You start seeing proof of why you're so abundant. And you'll see synchronicities showing up and more opportunities because you're now aligned with that energy. The abundant energy can now flow through you because you are a part of it. You are flowing at the same rate it is. Like you are, think of it as a stream. If you were in lack and you could not see abundance around you and you were in a bad mood and everywhere is scarce, there's nothing. You are a boulder in the abundance river. You are a big, fat boulder that the stream has to run around you. It cannot flow through you. It will hit you and bounce off of you because you are not the same energy. You are not flowing in the same way. You are not ready to receive or be a part of it or be flexible. You are a big, stubborn rock. But when you're able to shift your identity to an abundant energy and you're in the river, you're going to flow with that river all the way down. Wherever it goes, it's going to take you because you're now a part of it. You are in the stream. It can flow through you. I actually started with my abundance journey imagining that each day I would remove rocks from my abundance river. And all of those rocks were part of my identity. And I would literally like envision myself in meditation. I was apparently very strong, rolling these massive rocks out of the river so it can flow more. And I can be a part of the river and I can be in it and receive in the river. And I started pushing. And eventually that river was flowing so beautifully and I was a part of it. And there were no rocks in the way and I could just be part of the stream and flow. That really changed my life because I identified with that stream and how I wanted to show up in that state constantly. So I encourage you to really reflect today, maybe it's through journaling or meditation practice, how you're going to change your internal world to change your external reality. And allowing your brain filters to start choosing a different identity to focus on, because your body will keep resisting the unfamiliar states through that homeostasis, but we're going to train it to start seeing familiarity as abundance or whatever it is that you want to focus on. And doing that in a way that makes your nervous system feel safe to expand by one micro movement at a time, and deciding where you want to start and where you want to get to, and kind of writing out a little bit of a journey of this person that you want to embody. Who are they? Because they are the future you. They already are you. You just need to give them permission to show up. And that embodiment will rewire continuously each day that you show up to be this person. You don't create your reality by forcing any outcomes. You create it by becoming and aligning with the person for whom those outcomes are natural. What identity are you ready to release, and who do you want to become instead? Thank you for taking the time to listen today. I love this conversation, especially talking about the abundance river and how you can let that flow through you in so many different ways and what that looks like. I'm really excited to share all of this with you, and I look forward to our next episode, which is going to be about trust and surrender, kind of after this embodiment stage, and what that looks like, and how trusting that the universe has you. Thanks for taking the time to listen today, and I'll see you next time.